Shalom, Israel. Peace, Yasharala. Kala la yamla, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakadash. All power and glory to Yahweh. Yahweh being the true name of the Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai being the true name of the Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bashem, in the name, Rakakadash, Spirit Holy, Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who teach well and rule well, who taught me this truth in its entirety. Peace and salutation to the Akim, the fellow laborers, pushing this truth at the risk of their own lives throughout the four corners of the earth. And to the Akwith listening, Shalom. It's your brother Shema from the Pillars of Benjamin camp with another quick lesson. You know what I mean? But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, the title will come. Don't know what the title is going to be as of yet, but it's pretty much the relationships that Babylon the Great, America the Great, has with foreign nations is decaying, right? And I was watching this article that came in this morning, and we'll watch it. It's based on Turkey and America, the relationship they have. We'll watch it. Came out of VOA News. And then we'll grab some precepts.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan further ratcheted up US-Turkish tensions Sunday, daring Washington to impose sanctions on Turkey. Erdogan was responding to Washington's condemnation of Turkey testing its recently acquired Russian-made S-400 missile system. Washington claims the missile purchase violates US law and compromises NATO defense systems.
Violates, so the U.S. is claiming, America the Great, Babylon the Great is claiming NATO's missile testing violates American law. Psalm 94 verse 20. And it reads, Psalm 94 verse 20, and it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which framest mischief by Allah? So shall the throne of iniquity, the throne, the pinnacle, the throne, the rulership of wickedness, of sin, of iniquity, shall it have fellowship with the Most High Yahweh Shem El Shai? Shall it have fellowship with Jacob, Israel being a people before a place, which framest mischief by Allah, right? America the Great, Babylon the Great, the wicked. They frame mischief with laws all the time, constantly, right? Let's continue.
Violates US law and compromises NATO defense systems. The threat of US sanctions on Turkey has grown as NATO member Turkey deepens its ties with Russia. But analysts say as US-Turkish tensions worsen, Erdogan's relationship with President Trump has deepened.
Trump has been the only link, basically, between Turkey and Washington. The relations have been so bad over the past couple of years that the Erdogan-Trump phone line, what's called the bromance between the two, have actually been the only link that prevented a full rupture in many ways.
Critics accuse Trump of remaining silent over Turkey's deteriorating human rights record, despite broad international condemnation. Presidential challenger Joe Biden is strongly critical of Trump's relationship with Erdogan, promising a more assertive stance towards Turkey.
Assertive. So Biden's saying, if I'm in office, my relationship, America's relationship with Turkey America will be more assertive. Let's look up that word, assertive. Assertive. God, spelled it wrong. Salakia. Assertive. An energetic, assertive boy who was always ready to argue. Always ready to argue. Assertiveness. Tendency towards self-assertion. Assertiveness. Let's look up assertiveness. Assertive. Let's look up assertive. Meaning insisting on one's rights or authority. It's short for self-assertive, right? Assertion, dominance. Declaratory, positive, full of assertion. Assert, vindicate, maintain, or defend by words or measure, right? Vindicate, maintain, or defend by words or measure, right? So Biden saying if he's in office, the relationship will be more assertive, right? And this is how America the Great, Babylon the Great rolls. This is how they get down.
Stance towards Turkey.
With the Biden administration, you're almost certainly going to have more of a narrative on human rights and democracy, as has traditionally been the case in the Turkish-US relationship. We've always had US using carrot and stick. Yes, we want you to be our geopolitical partner, but also we want you to put your house in order, kind of a thing.
Turkey is strategic.
Put your house in order. We want you to do things our way, right? America hath been a golden cup. Let's get that precept, man. You know what I mean? In Jeremiah 50, 51. America hath been a golden cup. Babylon hath been a golden cup, right? And the nations are mad. Golden cup. Jeremiah 51 verse 7. And it reads, Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 7. And it reads, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, Yahweh, all caps, Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, right? The whole planet is drunken of America the Great, Babylon the Great's wine. Wine being philosophy, wine being way of doing things, their democracy, their government, their religions, just their way of doing things, their whole way of life. That's what the wine signifies. And this and you know, all these other nations are getting pissed off, man. That's why they're testing arms. That's why America is like, listen, man, this is a violation according to our law, right? Frameth mitzvah by law. According to our law, this is in violation. We want you to cease testing or cease making arms, right? America, Babylon the Great wants to be the bully on the block, right? And Turkey, they're worried about the relationship between Turkey and Russia, right? Let's continue.
Put your house in order, kind of a thing.
Turkey is strategically important to the US and NATO allies, with Iraq, Iran and Syria as neighbours. Biden has worked with Erdogan on Syria and other hotspots during the Obama administration. And Ankara is banking on the Democrats' pragmatism if
the governments also go ahead according to their vital interest, and the vital interest inside of not only the NATO, but also in the Middle East. Without Turkey, you cannot go ahead in the Middle East and the Black Sea.
Whoever wins the US presidential election, what to do with Turkey is likely to be one of the most pressing and vexing issues during the next 4 years. Dorian Jones for VOA News, Istanbul.
Khan. So yeah, it said right there, Turkey is of strategic interest to America the Great. A precept came in my mind when they said that, man. You know what I mean? I believe it's in Sirach. We'll find it. Right? They're of strategic interest. I believe it's in Sirach, which is in the Apocrypha, also known as Ecclesiasticus. It's either in the 12th chapter or the 13th chapter. Sirach 12. Sirach 12. Khan. Sirach 13, verse 4, right? So in that article, it said Turkey's strategic of strategic interest to Babylon the Great, America the Great. Sirach 13, verse 4, if thou be for his profit, right? This is America the Great. This is the wicked. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee, right? He will use you. So if he can get something out of you, he's going to use you. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If you have nothing, he'll turn his back on you. He'll turn on you, right? He'll conquer you. He'll overthrow you, right? But yeah, they're concerned with the relationship between Turkey and Russia, right? That whole Middle East region, right? It's a powder keg right now, right? Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5, verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. His soul which is lifted up is proud, his prideful self, America the Great, right? His soul within him is not right, right? It's not upright. But the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, right? Because he sinneth by wine, his philosophy, his doctrine, his ways, right? He is a proud man, America the Great, proud. Neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell. He's always conquering, doesn't stay at home. He's got embassies all over the planet, all over the earth, and is as death, right? And is as death. Wherever he goes is death, right? And destruction. And cannot be satisfied. Can't be satisfied. He's always got to conquer. Always wants your resources, right? But gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. America the Great, Babylon the Great, every corner of the earth. Embassies in every corner of the earth, right? Shall not all these take up a parable against him, right? Shall all these other nations, start to despise him, right? And a taunting proverb against him and say, right? So all these other nations are pretty much fed up, man. They're fed up with the golden cup that is transgressed with wine, right? Woe to him that increases that which is not his. How long, right? Destruction to him that increases, that goes around conquering and taking, right? Increases that which is not his, goes around taking, right? How long, right? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, that thick clay being debt. Right? America the Great, Babylon the Great's trillions of dollars in debt, man. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? Shall all these other nations rise up suddenly? Right? That shall bite thee. They're all rising up suddenly. They're all standing up and saying, you know what? We're done, man. We're pissed off. Right? And awake that shall vex thee. Right? And awake that shall vex thee. Awake that shall cause thee that shall cause thee anguish. So all these nations are waking up, are standing up, right? And they're just causing on multiple fronts, causing America stress and vexing them, right? And thou shalt be for booties unto them, right? Shall thou be booties unto them? They're gonna turn around and take yours, man. Booties, treasure. They're gonna turn around and take your resources. Verse 8, Habakkuk 2, verse 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, right? Because you've spoiled, taken, robbed many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. All that remain, all the remnant, the remaining people of the nations that you've spoiled, right, shall turn around and spoil thee, meaning take yours, right? Because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Because of the blood that you spilled and the violence that you've brought within their lands, right? Habakkuk 2, verse 9. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil, right? Destruction to him that coveteth, right? Right? Want other nations' resources, coveting other nations' resources, right? Destruction to him, right? America the Great, Babylon the Great. Habakkuk 2, verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. Khan. Destruction to him that has gone around shedding blood to build up theirs. We're going to close out with this one. Right? And America the Great. Come on, bear with me, brothers. Khan. Numbers 35, verse 33. We're going to close out with this one. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. You know, shedding blood, violence, it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that it shed therein, right? The land cannot be cleansed of the blood that's shed in there, right? So America the Great, Babylon the Great, it's soaked in the blood of the ancients, right? But by the blood of him that shed it, right? The only way it can be cleansed is by the blood of him that shed it. America the Great, Babylon the Great, the colonizer. The only way the land can be cleansed is by the blood of the one that shed it, right? And we know America the Great, Babylon the Great is going to be, Elder Apostle Tahar says, a great altar, a great sacrifice, right? By way of the chariots and those ICBM missiles, right? But I just wanted to touch on that. I pray you edified. I don't want Ratazah. Stay prayed up. Pray without ceasing. Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai. Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai. Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai. Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abad Babal.